Welcome back to Debate Night. Tonight we're not just comparing two studios. We're dissecting two worldviews that have shaped modern mythology for nearly a century. Marvel versus DC. On one side, fallible, witty heroes who live next door to us. On the other, timeless icons who stride like living symbols. We'll cover origins, style, cinema, animation, games, culture, business, craft, and the future. You choose the winner.
Marvel's spark is human imperfection. In the 1960s, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko gave powers to people who still had rent, acne, guilt, and deadlines. Peter Parker worried about homework between battles. The Fantastic Four argued like a family at dinner. Iron Man hid wounds with sarcasm. The message: your flaws aren't disqualifiers. They're the very engines of heroism.
DC's foundation is myth. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster introduced Superman in 1938, a sun-charged guardian, a parable about power and compassion. A year later, Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Batman-embodied human was sharpened by trauma. William Moulton Marston's Wonder Woman fused truth and justice with feminist ideals. These weren't neighbors. They were archetypes, designed to outlast trends and even time.
So, Marvel says, heroes are as plus consequences. DC says, heroes are ideals with shadows. Let's see how those blueprints shape character psychology and tone.
Marvel plants capes in real streets. New York isn't a metaphor, it's a map. The Hulk is rage and mental health wrapped in green. Tony Stark's bravado is armor over anxiety. Black Panther balances royal duty and global responsibility. Even gods like Thor must learn humility in a fish-out-of-water saga. The comedy isn't escape. It's grace under pressure, a breath before the next punch.
DC elevates cities into symbols. Gotham is corruption you can navigate block by block, alleys of fear, towers of greed. Metropolis glows like optimism engineered in steel and glass. Batman is obsession weaponized into order. Superman is restraint, the god who chooses to be a man. Wonder Woman is truth given a sword. The tone is operatic, crime as tragedy, justice as philosophy.
One side translates the news feed into heroism. The other chisels morality into monuments. Now, the big screen, where identities meet budgets and audience appetite.
Marvel reinvented theatrical continuity. Beginning with Iron Man 2008, the MCU stitched standalone films into a tapestry. Character arcs that pay off a decade later. Story threads that weave across 20-plus movies and series. Midnight premieres became collective rituals. Endgame felt like a graduation, tears, cheers, catharsis. Proof that patient storytelling can turn blockbusters into a shared diary.
DC's boldness thrives in singular vision. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight cycle is crime drama first, superhero spectacle second, surveillance ethics, chaos theory, the price of order. Joker proved that a psychological character study, stripped of spectacle, can shake global culture and box office alike. The Batman explored neo-noir detective lineage with rain-washed dread. DC sometimes fractures universes but births masterpieces.
So Marvel perfects consistency and cumulative payoff. DC tolerates chaos to chase artistic spikes. Let's examine culture, memes, myths, tattoos, and playground arguments.
Marvel permeates daily life. Kids wear Spider-Man backpacks in cities you've never visited. Captain America quotes are office morale hacks. TikTok stitches remix Iron Man sacrifices into motivational edits. The MCU taught general audiences how to read a shared universe, to decode Easter eggs, to speculate responsibly, to care about characters across formats. It built a global fandom fluent in continuity.
DC's sigils are permanent. The bat is carved on skin, stitched on leather, projected on skylines and murals. The S-shield still means hope to people who never opened a comic. Ask for the greatest superhero, and the shortlist rarely omits Batman or Superman. These icons are Jungian. They act like mirrors. You don't outgrow them, you reinterpret them.
Pop saturation versus mythic permanence. Two victories, different scoreboards. But what do these stories actually say about us? Let's argue philosophy.
Marvel's thesis: growth through vulnerability. Tony Stark learns that brilliance without humility destroys. Steve Rogers learns that loyalty without questions imprisons. Wanda Maximoff teaches grief's creative and destructive power. The Guardians of the Galaxy are misfits who choose family. Humor isn't denial, it's survival. An oxygen mask while confronting trauma, prejudice, and cosmic absurdity.
DC's thesis: morality under pressure. Batman insists order can be forged from fear before fear devours order. The Joker argues that identity unravels with a single bad day. Superman demonstrates that the highest power is restraint. Wonder Woman holds that truth, unarmed, is still a weapon. These stories prod at political power, surveillance, vigilantism, and whether justice can survive purity tests.
Growth versus gravitas, empathy versus ontology. And yet, capes still need cash. How do these philosophies convert into economics and strategy?
Marvel optimizes a flywheel. Cross-platform storytelling, predictable quality, broad four-quadrant, appeal, merchandise, and park integrations reinvestment. Even when an entry stumbles, the network effect cushions it. Cameos become marketing. Post-credits become habit loops. The MCU became not just a franchise but a media literacy school that Marvel owns.
DC's portfolio looks messy but harbors anti-fragility. A singular film can redefine brand perception, Joker. A different one can reboot tonal possibilities, The Batman. Elseworlds' freedom allows creative risk without kneecapping icons. The gamble is coherence. The advantage is authorship. When DC hits, it hits like a thesis defense, not a content drop.
Efficiency versus volatility. The investor versus the auteur. Let's get specific. Characters, villains, and how their conflicts encode meaning.
Marvel heroes win hearts through flaws made heroic. Spider-Man's guilt births responsibility. Black Panther grapples with isolationism versus global duty. Daredevil's faith collides with violence and law. Villains often refract the hero. Killmonger as Wakanda's repressed argument. Vulture as the forgotten worker in a world of gods. Loki as insecurity turned spectacle. The fight is an argument with oneself.
DC's rogues are moral thought experiments. The Joker tests social contracts. Two-Face literalizes chance versus choice. Lex Luthor is human ego lashing out at divinity. Darkseid is tyranny industrialized. Heroes aren't simply mirrored, they're indicted. Batman vs. Joker asks, is order a fiction? Superman vs. Lex asks, can humanity accept benevolent power without paranoia?
Marvel's therapy session versus DC's courtroom cross-examination. Now, beyond cinemas, animation, TV, and games where both legacies truly flex.
Marvel TV evolved from street-level grit, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, to Disney Plus arcs that broaden themes: grief in WandaVision, identity in Loki, legacy in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Animation like What If? Turns hypotheticals into canon-adjacent parables, keeping the multiverse breathable and playful.
DC animation is a cathedral. Batman, the animated series defined noir for a generation. Justice League and JL Unlimited mapped ethics across a pantheon. Young Justice treats sidekicks like fully human agents. Even direct-to-video films, Under the Red Hood, The Dark Knight Returns, set bars for tone and adaptation fidelity. On TV, The Flash and Arrow built communal ritual year after year.
In living rooms, DC often feels like the textbook, Marvel like the lab. Both necessary, mutually corrective. Let's boot the consoles. Games.
Marvel surged lately. Insomniac's Spider-Man and sequels captured swing physics as emotion. Every webline is agency. Guardians of the Galaxy paired banter with real pathos. Marvel Snap even turned card meta into character microportraits. The design mantra: kinetic empathy.
DC's Arkham series rewired third-person action. Arkham Asylum's combat and stealth loops remain copied. Gotham feels tactile, criminal ecosystems coherent. Injustice took a wild premise, heroes fighting heroes, and wrapped it in a surprisingly moral storyline. DC games talk in the same language as their icons: weight, consequence, and mood lighting that feels like judgment.
So far, Marvel is the friend who gets you to talk. DC is the judge who demands you think. But no saga is spotless. Let's spotlight weaknesses.
Critics accuse Marvel of homogeneity. Quips as spackle over uneven stakes. Third act CGI storms, safe villain arcs. Valid at times. Yet the machine also incubates risk. Black Panther centered an Afrofuturist kingdom on grief and policy. Eternals dared a cosmic tone poem. And Loki played metaphysics with mischievous sincerity. The formula flexes when faith meets experimentation.
DC's Achilles heel is coherence. Studio turbulence, uneven world building, abrupt tonal pivots. These undercut momentum. Still, those fractures allow directors to carve bold signatures. You don't get Joker or the Batman without tolerance for discomfort. DC's worst sin is confusion. Its saving grace is conviction.
Which pain would you rather endure? Boredom risk or whiplash risk? The answer reveals your taste. Let's look at craft, editing, color, sound, and fight language.
Marvel's palette leans toward legibility. Clear geography and action, coverage that prioritizes character beats, scoring that swells with ensemble emotion. Russo set pieces layer microarcs inside macro chaos. You always know why a punch matters. Taika Waititi's sensibility colors tragedy with pop, letting heartbreak ride on a neon comet.
DC often chases visual thesis statements. Chiaroscuro that frames ethics as light and shadow, frames that could be panels. Nolan's IMAX discipline gives scale moral gravity. Reeves composes detective dread in Red and Rain. Snyder's operatic slow motion reads like a hymn, divisive, yes, but undeniably authored. In DC, the shot is the sermon.
Different cinematographic ethics. Readability versus ritual. Now representation. Who gets to be a hero, and what that says about power.
Marvel widened the tent. Black Panther offered a joyous, layered black royalty fantasy that dialogued with diaspora politics. Marvel made a Pakistani-American teenager a cosmic protagonist without erasing family texture. Shang threaded immigrant humor into wuxia pride. The Enterprise make the universal specific then share.
DC's representation often crystallizes in symbol. Wonder Woman's World War I sprint across no man's land remains a feminist cinema image. Birds of Prey let messiness be a style. Recent Bat Family and Super Family comics experiment with identity without diluting archetype. The emblem stays, the stories diversify. The Enterprise, update the myth without breaking the statue.
Two approaches, same intent. More doors open, more kids point at screens and say me. Now, continuity science. How each brand handles canon pressure.
Marvel treats continuity like a promise. Post-credits teases become social contracts. The multiverse lets the studio celebrate legacy while onboarding newcomers. Cameos as gratitude, variants as creativity. It turns nostalgia into narrative fuel rather than dead weight. You can feel the room smiling when threads tie off years later.
DC treats continuity like an instrument, not a cage. Elseworld stories have long said, "What if?" without apology. That tradition empowers radical tone shifts. The same Batman can be camp, noir, or operatic and still be true. The multiverse isn't a trend, it's DC's native habitat. Canon becomes clay in steady hands.
Okay, awards and influence, not because trophies determine truth, but because they reveal forms of respect.
Marvel normalized ensemble blockbusters as legitimate emotional events. Critics once dismissed capes. Now they write about grief arcs and liminal identity. While Oscars largely snub superheroes, the MCU shifted the goalposts for what mainstream cinema can attempt: extended arcs, cross-media coherence, and feelings big enough to fill multiple films.
DC cracked the Academy glass ceiling. Heath Ledger's Oscar wasn't a concession. It was recognition that a villain could be Shakespeare with grease paint. Joker collecting awards attention proved comic book DNA can host austere drama. Even when polarizing, DC's highlight reel commands critical capital.
You can't buy love, but you can budget for ambition. So where are both heading?
Marvel's path is breadth plus depth. Cosmic sagas that still boil down to therapy sessions with lasers. The multiverse isn't an excuse. It's a map for legacy handoffs. The challenge is managing volume without flattening voice. The opportunity is letting distinct directors tune sub-franchises, while the core heartbeat stays hopeful and funny.
DC's path is consolidation with character. With new stewardship, the chance is to weld coherence to auteur DNA. Give us a spine we can follow, but let the ribs flex. Lean into Detective Batman, Immigrant Myth Superman, Warrior Diplomat Wonder Woman, and let smaller corners go weird and specific. Clarity first, then thunder.
Before closers, lightning round. 5 questions each. No hedging.
Best on-ramp for a new fan? Marvel. The films teach themselves. Humor lowers the drawbridge. You can enter almost anywhere and not feel punished for missing homework.
Best single film statement of the genre's potential? DC. The Dark Knight remains the thesis. Crime, ethics, terror, and heroism in a dense modern fable.
Best team chemistry? Marvel. The Guardians, the Avengers cross-banter as narrative glue. You feel friendships operate as plot engines, not just poster math.
Best hero-villain dialectic? DC. Batman and the Joker are eternal conversation partners about order, chaos, and whether either is honest.
Most emotionally satisfying long arc? Marvel's Iron Man. A decade from hubris to sacrifice is blockbuster storytelling's gold standard for payoff.
Most flexible icon? Batman. Camp, gothic, cyberpunk, procedural. He drinks any tone and still tastes like Batman.
Most surprising mainstream impact? Black Panther. A cultural celebration that made policy debates cool and dinner table normal.
Most audacious mainstream provocation? Joker. A grimy mirror that dared audiences to interrogate systems, not just a clown.
Best fun with heart blend? Spider-Man Homecoming to No Way Home. A coming-of-age trilogy hiding inside multiverse fireworks.
Best weight with style blend? The Batman, detective plotting, moral rot, and rain that feels like penance.
Final statements. Speak to the undecided fan who just wants stories worth their time.
Choose Marvel if you want community. Our heroes don't descend, they walk beside you. We will make you laugh, then make you care, then make you believe that messy people can do magnificent things together. Continuity isn't homework, it's friendship over time. Our universes are open doors, and there's a seat for you at the table.
Choose DC if you want resonance. Our heroes are not role models, they're mirrors and warnings. We won't always comfort you. Sometimes we'll disturb you, because truth doesn't always smile. The icons endure because they don't flatter, they challenge. Stand under the symbol you need and ask better questions of yourself.
And that's the duel. Marvel offers the heartbeat of togetherness, the thrill of long arc payoffs, the wink before the wound. DC offers the spine of myth, the gravity of hard choices, the echo you hear after credits roll. You can love both. Most fans do, but debates sharpen taste. So tell us, are you here for the light that jokes or the shadow that thinks? Drop your verdict below, and I'll see you in the comments.